I'm good, thank you.
Okay, okay. All right. Please, those on the YouTube, how is it like? Is it clear? Okay, let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started. All right. Last Friday during our session, we looked at this pair. This is gold. And we're talking about a cell. Friday during our session. It is gold. When we're talking about a cell. Friday during session. It is gold. When we're talking about a cell. It's not from my end. I think it's someone mic is high over there. But whatever the case, so we're just gonna proceed. So those watching from the YouTube should at the end of the day give me feedback. Let's know how it's going over there. Okay, so let's get started for today. All right. On Friday, we talked about gold on at the supply level, which we're also looking at a sell at that point. And I think that further encourage people to sell that we are at a supply level. So at that time, I also made mention that price is going to tap into the supply before picking up with a sell. And what happened is that price was still right at the peak of this bullish candle. It wasn't yet into the zone. So we also anticipated a sell into the zone before the drop. And that is exactly what happened. So zooming down to our M30, you could have ended up picking a sell right from the close of the bearish candle, which happens to coincide with our pattern, which is a railroad. Or for those of us that will be practicing imbalances, you could have had a sell stop right there, which you could have equally enjoyed the sell move. And that was a clean, let's look at it, how many pips did we have there? So from that point, that was a clean 64 pips. So going for a 50 pips, that's a quick $500 within 1 hour. So that wasn't bad. Closing with a $500 for the week on a Friday, that was a clean shot right there. Notwithstanding the buy which we already had in the morning, which we already explained that. So that is it. So today we are going to move straight into our simulation. So that was just a recap or just a review on what we did on Friday, which I don't know if some of us had taken that trade, but for those of us that did not take it, so this review would have helped to put you back on track that, yeah, that was a quick buck which you could have taken advantage of. So now to the order of the day. So today we are going to already had a running simulation on go. We're just gonna stop it. Look at change. Pound yen. Still gonna look at early this month. Today is the last day of the month, so early this month. We'll skip to that. We'll try to get it running. All right, so as usual, we're going to go straight to our daily. And our daily, we just closed bullish. So what we're going to do, we're going to quickly do our analysis. All right, we have our high right there. We'll try to spot our demand right at that point, spot on. And we are looking for a supply, which is equally right there. So bring in your shapes to just beautify your zone for clarity, for the purpose of clarity, so that you don't easily go off without knowing what is going on. So we are in a supply, so technically we should be heading down. We have a couple of spots, so this should be our take profit, considering the sell, though we have this kind of which could form as a support. So this minor demand zone. So which technically would have been in the middle of this Marabuzo candle, which is already 50% of that candle. And that is a perfect spot for a support. Now, if price breaks through our daily candle or our zone, so obviously we are trying to head towards this point due to the gap that was already created here. So now this is what we are looking at on pound yen. Okay, so let's run down to our H4 and see what is happening there. 4 equal is bouncing off the supply. So we can see it right there. So let's see the time H1. So what is the time? So bring in your period separator. Okay, so we are still midnight GMT. We are still midnight GMT. So all things bright and beautiful, everything going on well. Okay, so at this point, what we're going to do is copy our supply zone from the H onto the M30. But we should be able to identify this cell on the H4. Where are we looking at terminating? So we have a point there where we probably will be looking at terminating. And the cell, as you can see, is very strong because it's coming from this supply. So be it as it may, we have another zone right here of. So now at this point in time, we are still putting our eye on our M30 to see the timing and what is going on. So you can see on the M30, these are zones, and this is what is going on. And you're just going to be patient. This is 2 p.m. GMT. So you're just going to be patient and see what turns out of this trade. Now, let's I'm going to look at that. So a break of this structure will give room to the. So looking at the break of that structure to give us room to this zone right there. What that means is that, let's look at the market structure. This is a higher high that was created, the reset higher high. Now we can sense a higher low right there, but we have an FHH right here. It is an FHH right here. So with the presence of the FHH, so we are looking out for a lower low, and a lower low was created here. Hence, we are looking out for a lower high for another lower low to be established. So that is which is M30. So this is the structure we're waiting for. In as much as we are waiting for the structure, we are also trying to be patient for it to coincide with our timing. Because today we are not looking at imbalances, especially for this simulation class, we will not be looking at imbalances. So let's stick to our pattern trading so that we do not confuse ourselves. So let's clear it off. Get our charts clean. So that is what we are watching at the moment. Okay, price is heading down. Let's see what's the time. 4:30 GMT, meaning that that candle is going to close by 5 a.m. GMT. So now let's see if we can experience something. Remember, like I said, we are looking out for a break of this low to form a lower low on this M30. Remember, our bias is already bearish based on the higher time frame. Our bias is already bearish based on the higher time frame. So the entry time frame is just for us to look out for our patterns and execute our trade. So we go back to the higher time frame H, daily. This is our daily. So we're looking at a bullish route because we are coming out from a supply, and at the same time we are trying to combine it with the Marabuzu principle, whereby we are looking at 50% of the Marabuzu to be tapped, which always or mostly acts as a support with respect to this bullish candle. So we have a bullish Marabuzu. So price dropping is dropping to tap the support on the support of the Marabuzu candle. So it also coincides with our support zone right there. I think we have had a breakout on the M30, so let's hurry down and see. What is going on the M30. All right, so there's a breakout right there. Let's see what time the breakout happened. 5:30, 5:30 GMT. So now this candle closed by 6 GMT. So let's go to our H1 to see what is happening, if we can join. So the H1 has broken out, and the H1 will have a Marabuzu candle right there. So let's see if we can start warming up to pick our cells at the middle of the Marabuzu candle. We're going to be patient. The patient dog eats the fattest bone. We'll see 6 o'clock. GMT. So the new candle, 6:30, which closed by 7. So we start hanging on with hopes. So we go to H4. This is how H4 looks like. Scary. Delhi, still dropping, still bearish. Oh, boy, oh boy, relax. 6:30. If this closes this way, we are going to jump in for ourselves by 7 a.m. GMT. So now we have jumped in for ourselves. Let's see how it goes. About 35 pips stop loss. So 56. What date is that? That is 1st of May. 1st of May. So let's demarcate our take profits. Let's see what becomes of our trade. 36 pip stop loss. Take profit 51. That is 13393. 13393. So this is our potential take profit. This is our potential stop loss. So let's see what becomes of our trade. Remember, we picked the trade based on our pattern and based on our bias. We had a bearish bias, and we have come to meet our railroad pattern alongside with our timing. And here we go. We are having some party right here, right now. So let's hope the party continues. And it looks like the spread is high, because from this point, we are already 15 pips yet. The profit is low. Let me see what is happening there. Please, if you have question, always feel free to ask your question. Kind of looks like our spread for this session is huge. So even with our how deep our profit is running, we are still experiencing minimal profit. Here we go. Here we go. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the magic of bias. Oh my God, we are there. So you close 2 position, allow 1 to run, and let's break even. 1, 3, 4. We might be tempted to close because of the momentum is gathering. So we might be tempted to close, but let's keep monitoring it. Yeah. So since we couldn't place our stop loss, let's allow it to run. Let's see what is going to happen. Remember, all this is for learning purposes so that tomorrow, when you encounter issues like this, you know how to handle it. So we run straight to our H1 and ask for guidance. So our H1 is still in play. 96. Now, there is fear. Why? Because this bullish candle, 50% of this candle has been done. This Marabuzu created here. So when I pull my fib and measure that candle, you can see that 50% of that candle is here. That 50% of this Marabuzu created here has been done. So that was a warning to close your trade. That is a strong rejection candle. So on the H1, it therefore means run away, run away. So if this was to be a live trade, like I indicated earlier, you could have run away from the trade. So now this particular one, we're going to wait. The moment it gets into some profit, we're going to close it and we will be done with that trade. I hope what we are doing is making sense and people are getting to understand that the strategy, we are not just doing something on paper. These are practical. That is why we are doing it via the simulation for you to see how we trade. So that is it for that trade. Let's see how many pips we made. At least you had a 44 pips in your direction drop. That's excluding the spread. So, okay, on this M30, we still have some down moves. So that means likely our original targets will be hit. Now, what is the structure right here? This is a lower low, lower high. So what are we expecting? A lower low. So let's see if it's going to happen or if it's going to be a felt lower low. Any question, please stop by to ask question. Okay. Give it some moment to see what is going to happen. Remember, by this time, we are already out of the trade. So it takes patience to keep waiting. That's why trades like this will go multiple positions so that we can scale out. All right, slow and steady, gradually trying to give us our lower low. But let's say it's going to, this trade was a success. And at the end of the day, by now you'll be finding some solace somewhere and enjoying with your loved ones after making a couple of grand. Any question? All right, we got a question from our honorable okay. All right, speak, bro.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. My question has to do with why you ended the trade, because we've done our analysis on the dailies and on H4, and then we came to the H1 to again do our analysis before we went to the M30 to execute the trade. So we are aware that based on everything that we did, it's going to be a bearish trade. It's going to sell. So why do you hurriedly ended the trade? Is it out of fear, or you just don't want to lose money? Because when you still look at it on the M30, it's still selling. I just need a clarification to that. Thank you.
All right. That's a very good question, anyway. Now, before I ended the trade, the last one, for example, I said that because of this Marubozu candle, and I'm looking at 50% of this candle, and we have already done more than 50% of the candle. You get it? So each time, and that was reason number one. Secondly, the candle that broke through 50% of the Marubozu candle closed as a rejection candle. So that candle closed as a rejection candle. So to avoid losing some pips to the market, irrespective of the fact that we are still in a bearish trend, I had to shut down the trade. Why? Because it was 3 positions. I had shut down 2 of them while this candle was still in momentum, which normally when we are doing our trade management, what we do is that we will have TP1, TP2, TP3. So in a short trade like this overall target will still be in session. Now, first point is bullish, 50% of the Marubozu candle inform us to close the very first two trades. Then secondly, the rejection led us to closing the last trade after this bullish rejection. So that's what informed the closing. It's not because of fear of loss. Because if it was fear of loss, then what it means that we could have closed right from this point. When after picking the trade based on our railroad, the price started going bullish. So therefore means we could have closed there because we are scared that there's a likelihood that it's going to hit our stop loss. But we held our grounds because, like I always say, it's not about one losing trade. It's about sticking to the process because our strategy is about 80 to 90% accurate. I don't want to exaggerate. That's why I'm giving this range. You understand? So what it means that out of 10 trades, you are at least sure of winning 7. Let's just say 7. And you know 7 over 10 is a very good mark. So when you maintain your risk reward and have a winning ratio of 7 out of 10, with a risk reward of at least 1:2, what it therefore means that at least in a month, maintaining a 2% risk per trade should put you at least 25 to maybe 40% of your account monthly. And remember, this 2% depends on your account anyways, because if you are trading $1 million account, you can't do 2%. It's too high. Unless you are a high risk taker. 2% of $1 million is how much? That is 20,000, isn't it? 2% of $1 million is 20,000, because 10% is $100,000. So imagine risking 20,000 on a single trade, especially as a day trader. So that's massive, bro. So that is what it is. Are you okay?
Yes, thank you very much, Wex.
All right. Any further question? Anywhere? So let's go back to Delhi and see what is happening right there. So you can see we have tapped our zone on the Delhi as we projected. So that is where we are. So at that point, we have tapped so at this point, since we are in the minor demand zone, we can be looking for scalp for the scalpers. So we go back to our M30. Now our M30 coincides with our 200 and 800 EMA. So if we have a bullish, so before we sell, first of all, we need a pattern. Second, we need our timing. So let's see what time we are at currently. So this is 12 noon. Our current candle should close by 1, and this is 1 p.m. GMT. So what we are going to do on this trade is we're gonna do a buy stop. Okay, it's trying to go bullish. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a buy stop. 13367 67 778797. Remember, looking at a quick scalp on this trade. Remember, we are not just jumping into. We're gonna have a pattern. We must see our pattern, even though there are strong reasons for us to go in bullish right now. But we have to see some patterns developing before we can jump in for a sell, for a buy rather. Oh, already our buy is taking place. Whoa. So, uh, yeah. Now you can see what happened. This is what led to the miniature in our profit. You can see the spread 65 against 80. That's about 12 pips spread. That is why the moment we enter the buy, you can see where it placed our executed our trade. So I think that was so. But the point here is that we can see that the buy we were projecting is currently trying to unfold, and we gave reasons why we would be looking at a buy, and we also mentioned the kind of buy we'll be looking out for. That is a scalp, and you can see the potential exit is 133.93. That's potentially where we'll be exiting. That is, if this spread did not affect us. So, but let's say based on our entry at 133.67, which was supposed to be a buy stop, and exiting at 133.93, let's see what could be the effect of our trade. Remember, we had stated that is a scalp. A scalp is any trade from 10 pips upward, and you can say it's more than 10 pips. So that is it. Our target is met based on our scalp. And you can see that is how we keep raking in pips day in, day out with simple approach, following our strategy and our pattern. Someone may ask, what pattern presented here? We can see our morning star right there. So that is why I picked the trade, because of the morning star, which is our pattern. So that trade is a success. We close it because it has exceeded where we were even looking at for a price to get to. So I believe this time around My friend is okay that we stayed even beyond our targets just because we had issue with our entry due to the spread. So imagine if we had gotten exactly where we wanted to enter, which was here, so we would have been swimming massively in pips. Any question? All right, everyone is good. Okay, so what we are going to do right now is we're going to be looking at a couple of market structure on this particular trade. So we are doing a review on this trade. So we're going to review this trade. So we have, based on our strategy and uh, the two trades we looked at played out as projected. So if this was just a single pair you were looking at, so you have made a couple of more than $500 from this trade, even though you were having a single trade with a one standard lot, because this gave us about 44 pips, even though we did not hit our targets, we did not wait for our targets. So 44 pips right there, somewhere here. So with this pound yen, so that is about $400, and this has given us more than 30 pips. So you can see that is more than a couple of $500 on this pair in a day, which is enough for a trader. So if you can repeat that every single day, it's wonderful. Remember, one thing you must note, we did not pick trades without the patterns, and we did not fail to reference our market structure. You can tell that after our railroad, when we got the rejection, I would have entered again here. Why? Because we had a double tweezer right there, which formed a lower high. So we had a lower low, and now the double tweezer, the top of the double tweezer forms our, so this becomes our lower high. This was our lower low. So after the lower high, what are we expecting? We are expecting a lower low, which was therefore created. And after the lower low, you can see currently the lower high is still in session, which that is what we picked and enjoyed that move. Remember, this coincided with our daily zone, which we had earlier predicted. So we did not just jump into picking trades. So it bounced off the H4 support. So based on that, we had the grounds to pick our trade based on the pattern on the M30. So please understand the procedure. The trade was not just randomly executed. There was a bias and there were patterns alongside market structure. So that is why we had the results we had. So these are things that, if followed judiciously, these are the kind of results you'll be experiencing day in, day out with just this simple strategy. We have not even added FIPS to it, nor add our quarter theory to it. It is just pure supply and demand. Like I said, you can say if we were to pick this trade again, we would have been making money again because I just said that we are creating a lower high for a lower low, probably a lower low or a fair lower low somewhere here for a change in structure. And what happened? The lower low was created and immediately we start experiencing our sell. So this is the pattern that market takes day in, day out. So all we need to do is just to follow the simple pattern. And we should always be ahead of the game. Any question? All right. So if there's no question, I think at this point we'll be shutting down the YouTube viewers and we'll proceed with a few analysis for the week. Then we'll round it up there.